Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
I'm Mark Imperial, and welcome to the program. Between the extremely volatile stock market, record low interest rates, and no change in sight, people nearing or just entering retirement are often overwhelmed with figuring out how to retire safely. Naturally, they want to have an income that enables them to live comfortably and, most importantly, not outlive their money. With little or no education on this issue, people are often at a loss about just what to do. That's what we're going to discuss today with my special guest in this segment. Peter Kitzerow is a chartered financial consultant and president of Free Market Financial, a registered investment advisor. He specializes in helping these folks understand that there is no one product that'll do the job, but rather a process that'll enable them to enjoy their retirement and experience peace of mind about their finances and their future. Peter, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mark. It's great to be here.
So, Peter, tell us about Free Market Financial and the types of clients that you serve.
Okay, Mark. Well, as you mentioned, Free Market Financial is a registered investment advisor. We help retirees or soon-to-be retirees figure out their finances and achieve peace of mind about them. With the emphasis on planning first, we help clients get the most out of the assets and benefits that they already have. If changes to existing products or the addition of new ones are appropriate, the client will know that it's the right thing to do because they've been involved in the planning process themselves and not because of slick marketing or because they happen to trust me. You know, Mark, most of the clients we serve are in my generation, namely the baby boomers. For this group, planning usually involves maximizing their guaranteed income streams like pensions and Social Security, determining just how much risk they're carrying in their investment portfolio and verifying that it's appropriate for them. We also will review their estate plan to make sure that what they want to happen and what will happen are the same thing. You know, Mark, one thing nobody likes but everyone loves to talk about is income taxes. Today, many experts agree that between the existing national debt of around $19 trillion, ever-growing, quote, unfunded liabilities, end quote, like Social Security and Medicare, it's inevitable that income tax will rise in the future, likely significantly. For our baby boomer clients, there are strategies that we can employ to reduce their current and or future income taxes, as well as generate tax-free income. I guess you could say that tax efficiency in one's retirement plan today is essential. If our client is a business owner or self-employed, even if they aren't baby boomers, there are opportunities to help them reduce their income taxes and grow more wealth for their future. The key with this group is that they must be paying or expect to be paying at least $20,000 in federal income taxes. As you can see, Mark, we cover the gamut of planning opportunities. We are holistic planners and fiduciaries. Whether the implementation of a plan calls for investment products or insurance products, any recommendations must be in the client's best interest. It's not enough for the recommendation to be, quote, suitable, end quote, for you. It must be in your best interest. And Mark, that's a much higher standard. My licensing as an investment advisor representative holds me to that fiduciary standards. Demographically, I guess most of our clients are going to be over age 50 and have over $500,000 of investable assets.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that for me, because I was going to ask you what a fiduciary was, but you answered it, so thank you for that. So, Peter, what do you feel are the biggest myths or misconceptions that folks have about their life in retirement?
You know, one of the funniest ones really is that people, when they're preparing for retirement, they have a tendency to believe that they're going to need less money to live after they retire. Now, while some expenses may disappear like mortgage or tuition, the reality is this: while you're working 8 to 10 hours a day, you're not spending much money. If you're not working 8 to 10 hours a day, what will you be doing? Just about anything you can think of costs money.
I never looked at it that way, but you're absolutely right.
Another one, Mark, is that they will surely be in a lower income tax bracket when they retire. Historically, we're in a very, very low income tax environment. I know some people will find this hard to believe, but there have been periods of time in our nation's history where the top rate was 94%.
Wow.
Couple that with the huge and growing debt I mentioned earlier, and the potential for big tax increases is very real. Imagine what that would do to a person's retirement income. Proactive steps taken before retirement can help limit a client's exposure to income tax risk.
So what do you see as the most common challenge that your clients face?
One of the areas in which people have virtually no training or education is how to spend their money in retirement. And I know that sounds funny, but believe it or not, the rules for accumulating money are completely different than those for spending it. Imagine you've worked for an employer, maybe for yourself, for somewhere between 30 and 40 years. And all during this time, you've been a good worker and saver. You religiously contributed to your 401k plan, saved in Roth accounts, etc. But now you have this pile of money and no idea just how much you can spend each year, how long it will last, what could go wrong, how much risk is in your plan, etc., etc.
I imagine when people face this, it brings up a lot of fear. So what are some of the most common fears that people have about retirement?
Well, one of the concerns that most people come to us with, and I guess they read about it and it becomes common knowledge for people in this age group, is this fear of running out of money before they die. And it's not hard to see why. Actuaries today predict that many of us will live well into our 90s, if not our hundreds. This raises the possibility of living for 35 years or more in retirement. Mark, it takes a lot of planning and a lot of money to make that happen. Another fear that people have is the future performance of the stock market. For most, if not all of their adult lives, they've been contributing to their 401k plan, which is invested primarily in the stock market. With some careful, sensible planning, they can structure their retirement so that any short-term movement in the stock market will be of little concern, and they can allow the stocks they do have to do what they're supposed to do, and that's to grow over time.
Now that sounds good to me. What are some of the common mistakes that you've seen that people make thinking about their retirement?
You know, some people either pretend that everything's going to be okay and assume that they'll deal with any problems when they crop up, or they believe that there's no hope for them, that nothing can be done to improve their situation. The solution to both of these cases is to engage a true financial planner who can help you make the best out of whatever resources you do have. Most of the time, the result will be better than you would have thought possible. The key is to be proactive about your financial future.
Can you give me an example, Peter, of a way that you might have been able to help a client overcome their fears about planning?
Sure, Mark. One of our clients this year came to us, as they often do, with all of their retirement savings in stock market type investments. They were concerned about the volatility of the stock market and what a severe downturn would do to their nest egg. By coordinating their resources, which included Social Security, a pension, continuing earned income, and other investments, were able to structure their plan to meet all of their current needs and for the next 10 years without making any withdrawals from their stock market portfolio. This gives them the peace of mind to allow their stock market investments to grow and provide for their future income needs.
So, Peter, you're obviously very knowledgeable about this. So what originally inspired you to become a financial advisor?
Well, Mark, I've been in the financial services industry for over 30 years, and over that time, I've worked for a number of high-profile financial companies. And what it really taught me is that the majority, not all, but the majority of financial institutions are far less concerned as to whether a client makes money or not. Their primary concern is that you complete some sort of a transaction. You see, every time you do, they get paid, whether you do or not. I also learned that consumers really need an independent advisor who's on their side. That led me to becoming totally independent over 16 years ago. I also have the Chartered Financial Consultant and Chartered Life Underwriter professional designations, and I'm licensed as an investment advisor representative. Taking the complex and making it simple is the art part of this profession. You know, Mark, there's an impossible number of things to know in this world. However, the client led by a person whose interest is in truly helping them, only needs to know the right things. Helping my clients know the right things gives me a tremendous amount of satisfaction.
So, Peter, can you share a lesson that you've learned early on that perhaps still impacts the way that you perform for your clients today?
I sure can, Mark. And, we all want to be able to help everyone. But what I learned is that I and my company are not a good fit for everyone we meet. I learned that it's a good investment of time, both on the prospect's part and on mine, to spend an hour to see if we should work together. After an hour, if we don't seem to be a good fit, we just saved each other a lot of time. We can shake hands and part friends. If, on the other hand, working with me and my firm can add value to a person's life, wouldn't it make sense for us to do so?
Yeah, so you're really looking for the right clients and the ones that you can give the most value to.
That's exactly right.
Why might some people be reluctant to engage a financial planner like yourself?
Well, if a potential client is reluctant to work with a planner, it's usually for one of the following reasons. The first one is that the prospect is unsure of the advisor's credentials and experience. As I mentioned earlier, I hold a chartered financial consultant, chartered life underwriter designations, and am licensed as an investment advisor representative. In addition, I've been in this business, I hate to admit it, for 36 years, and I've been independent for over 16 of them. Next is the amount of time required to get the job done. As you might have heard or read, it's not uncommon for people to spend way more time planning their next vacation than they do their retirement. We can generally enable a client to start making planning decisions after about 3 or 4 one-hour meetings. You see, Mark, we work together or co-create the plan. My job is to develop all the pros and cons of a product or strategy so that the client can make a straight-up yes or no decision. The third area of reluctance is how the advisor is paid. We charge a consulting fee for planning. Paying a fee for planning means that you'll get an objective plan, whether you need to purchase investment or insurance products or not. Generally, the fees we can recover from other areas or income taxes more than pay for our consulting fee. In addition, we can help a client implement their plan. If you choose to implement your plan with us, we are licensed both for investments and insurance products. Because we're compensated in both areas, we don't have a dog in the hunt, so to speak. In other words, we don't have a bias towards any particular products. Our goal is to make sure that you have all the appropriate products that make your plan work best for you.
So, Peter, if our listeners want to work with you or get more information about Free Market Financial, what should they do?
That's really easy, Mark. If someone's interested in potentially working with us, I urge them to call and schedule a complimentary 1-hour consultation. During that time, it will become abundantly clear if we're a good fit for one another and specifically how I can add value to their life. I can be reached at area code 281-210-1341, or you can visit our website at www.freemarketfinancial.net. That's Free Market Financial is all one word. Prior to coming in for their consultation, they'll be invited to complete a personal wealth index survey. This survey compares their answers to 50 relevant questions with thousands of other consumers nationwide and helps identify their strengths in areas of planning and living in retirement and those in which they can improve. Let me reiterate, Mark, this initial consultation is complimentary. And although our office is in the Woodlands, Texas, and convenient to just about anywhere in the Houston area, we also serve clients in many other states. If you think that we might be able to help you, I suggest you give our office a call and let's take it from there.
Hey, that sounds terrific. Peter, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing knowledge on the program today. I wish you continued success for you and your clients.
Thanks so much, Mark. It's been a real pleasure being here.
I'm Mark Imperial, and this is the program spotlighting noteworthy professionals, experts, and business owners from around the world and in your town. If you know a great business or professional that we should feature on the program, I'd like to hear from you. You could nominate them by emailing me at radio@markimperial.com. Once again, that's radio@markimperial.com. In this next segment, our home stretch, I've got a special treat for you. If you're a business owner or professional, or if you aspire to be one, for over 7 years, I've been interviewing leading experts and business celebrities and sharing their secrets to success with you. From my first show, Entrepreneur's Edge, to Game Changers Radio, to Mad Rocket Business, all the way to Remarkable Radio and this program today, in this home stretch, I'm bringing you a flashback to one of my most popular episodes, covering how to attract clients magnetically using only the power of words and without costly branding. So enjoy this very special edition home stretch, and here we go.
Now, get the edge. Here are Mark and Tom.
Hey, welcome to the show. It's Mark Imperial, another power thinking hour here at Entrepreneur's Edge.
Mark, this is Tom Rebar, and it is time for all the capitalists and all of the entrepreneurs and the self-employed people and the professionals in private practice and all the sales and marketing pros to come out of the woodwork and put their feet up and join together and learn for an hour.
That's right. So welcome back, everybody. And we've got a terrific show. We're recapping a fantastic week that we had here at Entrepreneur's Edge. We just had our Entrepreneur's Edge live event last Wednesday. And boy, it was a hoot. The party was jumping. I'm telling you, they almost had to kick us out of the hotel.
They did, and there's nothing like talking about advertising and copywriting that gets people out of their chairs, because once you start talking about that, people realize that even if you thought you knew everything there was to know about it, you realize there's more to learn and more to still learn.
Yeah, the place was absolutely on fire. We had Conrad Hall and Ken Schreiber join us and speaking on copywriting and writing the words that sell your business. What better way to get to the bullet points of that than to recap what we talked about at Wednesday's event?
Go for it.
And you know what? In fact, if you missed it, you really missed a hugely valuable opportunity to boost your response. Because I'm talking about, we talked about headlines and postcard and copy that got 4 to 5 times the response of another control. So that's a 400 to 500% increase by just changing the words on the paper. How many folks don't think about that?
A whole bunch.
So we started out, one of our guest speakers, Ken Schreiber, he was talking about lead generation and the minute differences about generating leads with your copy as opposed to like using sales conversion. Now, one of the key points and takeaways he talked about, he started out, check this out. The first thing he said when he got up on the stage is he said, "Who here wants a surefire way to get new customers or prospects without any marketing cost?" And all the hands went up, right?
Mine went up.
Yeah.
I was the first one.
Now, guess what? He says that was the first lesson in lead generation. You are trying to identify exactly with the person what is it that they want. So if you have the right market, the right list, and then you give them that question, who wants this solution? And you're talking directly at a person, and they raise their hand and identify. That is it. That's as simple as that. And then you make them an offer that they just can't refuse.
Because all you want is to find out who those people are who are willing to raise their hand.
Yeah, and you could adapt that into any business type that you can. Now look at this. Another key is speaking directly at that target person. If you get a list, if you're doing a mailing, a postcard mailing, and you know who that customer is you're looking for, you identify it and you speak directly at their problems. You have to identify, and we talked about this. I call it the hidden benefit, because you have to you think about your customer and think of all the problems that they have in their lives, because what you are is you're a problem solver. That brings up another point. A lot of business owners, a lot of businesses out there, they make the mistake, and we had some folks talk about this in the room as well. I say, what is your ad about? What was the message you put in your marketing? And they said, well, a discount, a discount or percentage off. And the reality is that they're trying to sell their product directly. And we say that kind of hurts your response, because when you try to sell your product directly, the only people that are responding are those that are ready to buy like your widget or your thing right now.
At that immediate point in time.
So it's about transcending timing. So we're going to be back after this break and continue, because we've got a lot of nuggets that came out of that event on writing words that sell. BusinessEdgeRadio.com. Go to the website, get our free gift, and we'll be right back after this.
Stay with us.
business owners and entrepreneurs. Once again, here's Mark and Tom.
Hey, welcome back to your Power Thinking Hour for entrepreneurs and business owners. It's Mark Imperial.
This is Tom Rebar. Hey, Mark, let's go back to that, the story you were telling right before the break about the person who was going for the jugular and trying to make the big sale right out of the gate. Let's try to make sure we bring the loop fully closed there. What do you do to get around that?
Well, let's see. As I mentioned, a lot of business owners, they think, they're not, they're in the mindset of I got to sell my thing. So they're focused on how can I sell my thing? Let me present my product or my service and let me give a discount or a coupon. That's like the knee-jerk reaction to what they're offering.
And then when people don't buy, right away they think, my price is still too high, so they get into this headset of, now I got a further discount.
Yeah, they're focusing on the wrong thing, and it's because they get a low response rate. But our answer to that, what we know from testing, is that the low response rate is because you're not transcending timing. You're making an offer for people that are ready to buy right that minute. But then when somebody is in the buying cycle, but they're not just quite ready to buy yet, and maybe a month down the road, they forgot all about you. You're only picking up the immediate buyers. You have to find a way to transcend the timing, and we do that with lead generation.
And it has nothing to do with price. So
that's right.
Get price out of your head that it's not that your price is too high.
That's often the last thing to even consider is the price. I mean, the example that I'm going to give you and for the listeners is we had a terrific home remodeling company in the audience and asked us how do we directly link what we're talking about here at the event to his type of business. I said, is there a business that feels like they don't know how to link this lead generation strategy to theirs? And then he raised his hand and he said, home remodeling. What do I do? And I said, what are you doing currently to get your business? He said, I did a mailing. What was the offer on the mailing? It was a discount of some sort. And we told him the same thing. You're selling a discount. You're only going to pick up the buyers ready to buy now. And then he said, well, what's the alternative? Well, the alternative is you want to find people that may not just be thinking about buying right now, but maybe they're already in their head. You know what? 6 months from now, a year from now, I know I'm going to have a move. How are you going to get those people to identify themselves so you can continue to stay in front of them? Well, we said, why don't you offer a report called, the 7 deadly traps and how to avoid them, how to save blah, blah, blah on your remodeling costs, how to get how to remodel your kitchen, your home or whatever, and save the maximum. 7 deadly traps, a report that is going to be useful to that prospect. That way, even if it's 6 months or a year from now that they're thinking about the move, they still want that free report. That little trick alone increases the response 4 or 5 times.
Easily. And you could tell that this fella, because I was sitting across the room from him, he had a big smile on his face as soon as you started to unveil that story, because you could tell right away he got it. Mm-hmm. And head kind of went back into that makes sense right away to him. So
that's right.
He was a very smart person.
Yeah. So, back to the list of what Ken Schreiber was speaking about. He's, another nugget was speak directly at him. Who is it that you're mailing to and what is their direct problem? The next point is everyone's favorite radio station besides WIND is WIIFM. What's in it for me?
Exactly.
So that, literally the headline or the message that you put on your mailing pieces has to address directly at them because it has to pass that test. Conrad Hall mentioned this, the so what test. You read your headline, whatever you consider your headline, and run it through your own head and say, okay, I read something and so what? Is it going to make you say so what, or is it going to intrigue you to read further?
Well, in fact, he even suggests to do that for every one of your bullets. When you put the bullet there, just read it out loud and say, now, so what? What is that person going to answer if they read it and you say, so what, to give yourself a chance to substantiate that bullet in your head?
Yes, that's right.
Is it a worthy bullet?
Yep. And I have a litmus test actually for you. Let's first of all, let's wrap up with what Conrad was talking about before we even go into the litmus test on headlines. But, Conrad has a great description for copywriting. He said it's the art of using words to create action. Now think about that. The art of using words to create action. How many folks really think of their advertising in that way? The most of the time I see people doing an advertisement, it's like the name of their company or their logo. How does that create any action?
One of the one of the best testimonials for last night was I brought my assistant along to your summit. He is just beginning to think about the art of copywriting. And when we left, he said that was one of the best meetings he's ever been to. And he got more notes in a short period of time about how to write copy than he ever thought he would by coming along last night.
It's incredible. And, a lot of the stuff that, many of our pros in Mastermind, for example, we take it for granted because we've been so immersed in this kind of marketing, but it's eye-opening for many. For example, one of the big keys that was huge for everyone in the room was when Ken Schreiber described, and remember the headline, who else here wants to know how to acquire new customers and prospects without any acquisition cost, right? Now, how do you do it without acquisition cost? Well, if you were at the summit, I don't have enough time in the next 4 minutes to tell you, but you can do, it was a brilliant strategy he had about liquidating your marketing costs. Mm-hmm. And so you have to be at Entrepreneur's Edge live events. And these are the kind of things that we talk about. So, this is probably the best time ever to give a plug for the next live event. Make sure you go to Business Edge Live or businessedgeradio.com, click on the live events tab, and you're going to find the next meeting in Madison, the next meeting in Green Bay, and the next meeting in Oak Brook. Hey, we've only got about a minute here, and I want to talk about one bullet. I have about 12 here.
Go ahead.
But let's talk about the headline, because what is the headline? The headline of your ad is the ad for your ad. Does that make sense? And what is the only job of the headline?
The only job of the headline is to shout it out and get somebody to be interested in taking the next step, which is to read what else is there.
Read the next line, absolutely. And it's the most valuable real estate on your ad or your postcard or your mailing. And what do most companies inadvertently waste in that space? What do they do in that space instead?
How many people put the name of their company or their logo up at the top of the ad or the top of their website, and then they wonder why nobody's reading it? It's because they never had a headline there.
Hey, in the wrap-up, I'm going to give my litmus test for great headlines for all the listeners. After the break, Tom Apicella from Think Spaces in Naperville, Illinois, will be joining us to give us his tips, tricks, and secrets for furnishing your office. We'll be right back. BusinessEdgeRadio.com.
We'll be here. Stay with us. BusinessEdgeRadio.com for all the events.
Hey, we're back. It's Mark Imperial.
And this is Tom Rebar. We are in the home stretch again. Mark, I can't believe another week has gone by so fast.
That's right. Hey, we're back here with Tom Apicella from Think Spaces in Naperville, Illinois. Hey, Tom, I wanted to ask you just recently joined our mastermind group here at Entrepreneur's Edge. Can you tell me what drew you to the group and what you're getting out of it so far?
Well, what drew me to the mastermind group is, I want to have other like-minded entrepreneurs and people that I can basically bounce ideas off of, talk about my business to help expand it. Because as a lot of people know, there's a lot of businesses in one business that you can extrapolate from. So just having that, and then it's also, for accountability when you come up with new strategies and ideas, there's some accountability because they're going to ask you, well, what did you do with what you said you were going to do with last month?
Yeah.
And, action is the way to make things happen in business.
That's terrific. And now for the folks listening, whether they're a property manager or a business owner looking to move or improve their spaces, how can they get a hold of you for your information?
You can go to thinkspaces.net and you can fill out one of our interior design contact forms, or there's a phone number on there that you can call, 630-324-4598.
Tom, it was terrific having you on the show. Thank you for coming out today.
Thanks for having me, guys. Enjoy the show.
Terrific. Thank you. Tom, we're on the home stretch now.
We are. I can't believe it.
Now, I promised a litmus test for people to test whether their headlines are any good.
So give them.
All right, here it is. Now, this is sort of like the classified test, if you think of like a classified ad. And what are the classified ads all about? It's usually a small, tiny little ad, right?
Very small.
With just, you don't have enough room to put anything but a blurb and a call to action, a CTA, like a phone number, right?
That's exactly right.
So what you do is you take whatever you think is your headline and then you neuter out everything else and just put your your phone number or whatever your response mechanism is under it. And if the two make sense and entice you to move forward, like let me give you an example. What do most people use as their headline that's wrong? And we talk about this a lot. The company name, right?
Name and maybe a logo.
So let's look at the litmus test. A to Z painting, phone number. Now, is that entice you to take any action?
So who'd call with A to Z painting and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9?
That's right. There's no words that cause action. Now, what if the headline, let me think just off of the top of my head here. Let's use an example for a bowling alley, okay? Something weird. Now, what if the headline said how to bowl a 300 every time and then a phone number? Now, that causes you a little bit more enticement to call that number.
Sure
So
would.
there's a difference between that's the litmus test. Take your headline and put just the headline and the phone number or response mechanism. And is that enough to make somebody take some action? That's the litmus test.
Great test.
So that
Now,
makes every word count.
Hopefully nobody just puts that in an ad, a headline and a phone number. It'd be nice to have a little more copy than that. But I understand what the litmus test is.
Yes, absolutely. So that's what we talked about. And it's about all the time we had to talk about today was headlines, but it's the most important piece. What else do we know about headlines? Headlines are the most important part of the ad. You remember at the event, I gave you 3 headlines that were tested. And I'll tell you what, let's do the test right now. One of the headlines got 5 times the response of the other 2. Was it headline A, I've never been able to get a good portrait of my child until now? Or B, finally a children's portrait worth more than the paper it's printed on? Or C, the best children's portrait at the right price guaranteed? We did this test. People raised their hand. The room was about split. But the answer is B. And again, we said, what's the reason why? Everyone gave reasons that they thought why B won. But the truth is, it doesn't matter. You just have to test.
And everybody's afraid to test.
And guess what? They didn't change any other part of the ad.
Customer.
Just the headline.
Hey, go out to businessedgeradio.com. We have Wayne Brightbath coming this next month in March up in Green Bay and Madison. He's going to talk about business use of LinkedIn. Unbelievable ideas. So come and see us.
See you later. Hey, it's Mark Imperial. I hope you enjoyed those highlights. Again, if you know a professional or business that we should feature on the show, you could nominate them by emailing me at radio@markimperial.com. One more time, that's radio@markimperial.com. Until next time, this is Mark Imperial. Make it a remarkable week. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.